So now we're going to look at modifiers. And as we know, modifiers can either be adjectives or adverbs. Adjectives modify nouns and pronouns. Adverbs are going to modify adjectives, verbs, and other adverbs. So she has this brief introduction about what a modifier is. And basically, she says that it means to change something. That's partially true. But basically what you're doing is you're taking a word, it's being put in a subordinate relationship to another word. Subordinate means dependent on. So like if I say blue bird, the word blue is subordinate to bird. And that subordinate word is dependent on bird itself. Okay, blue is dependent on bird, as in it has no meaning in the sentence, except that it's attached to bird. It will delimit, right? It will, if you had a circle and you thought bird, right? That could be a blue bird, black bird, orange bird, red bird, what have you. As soon as you say blue, that circle gets right? It gets a lot smaller, right? Only blue birds are only here. So that's something like what delimiting means. And so modifiers do other things than delimit, but again, you can take it as change if that helps you in understanding it. So if we remember, there are 4 questions for adjectives and 4 questions for adverbs. So the adjective questions, which ones, what kinds, whose, how many, and then adverb, where, when, why, how, or how, where, when, why, however you want to memorize it. Memorize these now because you're going to use them all the time. If you don't have them memorized, you're going to get them confused and you'll start adding things. You'll start adding questions like what is technically not a question. What kind is a question? Okay, trust me, memorize them quickly. So if we look here, any one of the adjective or adverb questions, when they're answered, right, we're going to diagram it. And we're going to diagram it in a way to show actually its subordinate relationship, to show that it is dependent on the other word. So for instance, birds sing. Now, if I use an adjective like 3, I'm going to put 3 in my diagram. I'm going to diagram it under birds. Okay. So you have your here, you have your subject, birds, and then you have the main verb, sing, and then we have 3 that goes under it. So all of the adjectives, all of the adverbs are just going to go under the things they modify. So for instance, okay, 3 birds sing what? Happily. So where do we put happily? We put it right under sing. Make it a little smaller. You'd put it right under sing, just like that. The line here indicates that it's modifying that word, so it goes under it. Okay, now remember this. Anything, any word that's modifying another word, the modifier is going to go under that which it modifies. It's going to go under that which it modifies. It's going to be important because when we learn to diagram prepositional phrases, we have the object of the preposition. Well, things can modify it. So we're going to put those under it, okay? As long as you remember that principle, this will be easy. So read through this. We don't have to read every little bit, but read through what she says here. Here's another example. The birds sing sorrowfully, right? So you can actually read these diagrams backwards back into sentences. Now, she has an important note here, and I can't emphasize this enough. So when we have an adjective, usually that's going to come right next to the noun, usually. But when we have an adverb, adverbs are very flexible. So sorrowfully, the birds sing. The birds sorrowfully sing. The birds sing sorrowfully. All of these are correct. All of these are correct. In other grammar books, they may say that there's a different type of modification going on, okay? But for our purpose here, just know that sorrowfully here, it's still modifying the verb, even though it's all the way in the front of the sentence, right? Or it comes in the second one before the verb, or in the third one after the verb. It's still modifying the verb. It's singing, it's telling us how they sang, okay? So if we look at 2-4, exercise 2-4, poor Rex whined pitifully. So first thing you do when you have diagrams, when you're diagramming sentences, the most important thing, identify the pillars, the subject and the main verb. Okay, we used to just do the subject and predicate, okay, but think of it now mostly as the main verb. So we have Rex, it's our subject, that's who we're talking about. And what did he do? He whined, right? Now, if we look, what is the rest of the sentence? The rest of the words in the sentence have some subordinate or some, unnecessary, like you don't need them in the sentence. They have some unnecessary relation to the rest of the sentence. So if I were diagramming this, put my diagram here, right? I put Rex here, put the verb here, and then I have to diagram poor and pitifully. Okay, well, what's poor? If I think about it, what's it telling me about Rex? Well, what question is it answering? What kind of Rex, right? So poor is an adjective. It's modifying a noun. What about pitifully, right? It's modifying whined. It's answering how. Okay, so now put them under what they modify. So poor goes under Rex. It's purple line. Pitifully goes under whined. Okay, so you'll write them out and then put the lines in pitifully. Just like that. Easy, right? So the next one, let's look at the next one. That tired Rex was panting furiously. Okay, where's the subject? Rex. Everything else is modifying Rex. That tired, modifying Rex. Where's the verb? Was panting. That's the helping verb plus the main verb. Okay, and then furiously. How was he panting? Furiously. So that's our adverb, right? So we have our adverbs and we have our adjectives. Now, don't get caught in the sauce. If we have two adjectives, what do? So first we'll put was panting up here. It's our whole verb. And then we have two adjectives. So what are we going to do? Simple. You just make two lines. Keep the purple lines, right? You keep two lines. You have two lines. You put that on one of them. And then you put tired on the other. That's it. That and tired. And then you put furiously on the other one. Do that with all of these. And remember, number 3, yesterday. What is it? What's it answering? It's answering when. So it's an adverb. So where's it going to go? It's going to be modifying, scratching. So don't put it somewhere near Rex because that's not what it's modifying. It's modifying scratching. Okay, so you can finish these. Now, if we go to 2-5, this is an exercise that lets you practice what you've learned so far. So in terms of diagramming modifiers, there's a nice little chart here. Subject, noun, who's, how many, which one, what kind, all the adjective questions, and then main verb with any helpers, how, where, when, why. Memorize this. That keep this, like ingrain it into your memory, burn it into your memory so that you don't forget it. Okay, because this is exactly how you're going to diagram. So if you look down at all of these sentences, you can it should be pretty easy. Okay, remember that when you have a question, you have to rearrange it into a normal sentence. And that actually brings up one thing before we stop, something she mentioned a little earlier, okay, which is, well, let's look at a couple of these. Yeah, okay, it's here. So why should that naughty Rex have howled so dismally? So this is number 5. So what do you have to do? Change it to a normal sentence. So Rex, that naughty Rex should have howled dismally. So why? Sounds weird, right? It does sound weird. Okay. But how do we diagram it? Well, she diagrammed it down here. You have Rex. He's our subject. Where's our main verb? And our helping verbs. Should have howled, right? These are the verbs. Well, then we have that and naughty. Okay, we saw those before. Those are adjectives. And then dismally, we have as an adverb. Okay, so dismally, so dismally. So is, look, so is modifying dismally. We said that adverbs modify 3 things. What are they? Adjectives, adverbs, and verbs. So is modifying an adverb, which makes it another adverb. So you have to put it under dismally, like that, under the other adverb. So you make a little hook thing. But then we have why. What is why? It's a question. Okay, so is it modifying something, right? Take it as a modifier. It answers, it is a question, it is an adverb question, so take it as an adverb. Put it under the verb. Why? It's going to go under should have howled. Okay. In effect, it is modifying. Okay, so that's the important note I wanted to mention. So when you do these, when you do 2-5, make sure you pay attention to these, okay, and use this as a reference.